What's up, y'all? It's Chris from GamesOnSmashTech. Now, on screen, you see a diagram of my current PC. I'm going to be using this diagram to explain in more detail which parts I'm going to be swapping out for this upcoming computer build. That being said, let's start with the motherboard. The current motherboard that I have supports dual channel RAM, Pentium D, dual core processors. It also supports SLI. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be upgrading that to the EVGA X58, which has tri-channel RAM. It supports the i7 quad-core processor. It's also compatible with SLI, but in turn, you're not only stuck with SLI. If you have an ATI graphics card, you could go Crossfire. It's both SLI and Crossfire compatible, so that's a pretty cool feature. Now, with that being said, obviously I'm going to be picking up the i7. The one that I've chosen is the Intel Core i7-920. It's clocked at 2.66, and I'm probably going to be overclocking that to about 3 or 3.5. Now, to take advantage of that tri-channel RAM, I've got 6 gigs of Patriot Viper PC 10666 DDR3 memory. That's running at 1333 megahertz. So basically, that's 3 sticks of 2 gigs. As for the video card, I'm going to be adding the EVGA GeForce GTX 260. Not the regular 260, the Core 216 superclocked version. In some cases, this 216 is said to surpass the 280. So I want to see how that is. So that's with 896 megs of GDDR3 RAM, and it's SLI compatible. You could actually try SLI this. So if you have 3 cards, you could put it in 3 times, but I'm not going to go that far. Now, directly underneath the GTX 260, I'm going to be putting the Thermaltake TMG SL1 PCI slot fan. So what that'll help, it'll help with the circulation and keep the heat away, or keep the heat off of the GPU. Now, looking at this diagram, some of you might be noticing that the video card is running into my hard drive. But don't worry, I've got a plan for that. The plan, what I'm going to do with my hard drive, actually ties in with my cooling system that I'm going to be putting in. Let me explain this. Now, using the MassCool CooFormula SHF1, I'm going to move my hard drive from the hard drive enclosure in the bottom right hand corner to a 5 1/4 bay just above it. It has 2 fans that stick out the front. Not really stick out the front, but you know, it draws cold air from the front. Runs it past the hard drive. It comes with the heatsink, so you know, past the heatsink and through to the back end. Not only does it cool down your hard drive, but it cools down your case at the same time. And last but not least, I'm going to get the Thermaltake Core i7 CPU cooler for, well, to cool the CPU. It would be venting air from outside onto the chip, or I should say onto the heatsink, cooling down the heatsink. And that should be enough. Let me show you the airflow that's going to be happening. Alright, so starting from the top right, I'm going to have 1 or even possibly 2 MassCool CooFormula SHF1s cooling down my hard drive, as well as helping out to cool down the entire case. It's going to be drawing cool air from there, pushing it along and exiting through the left. The top left, I have an exhaust fan, a 120 mil exhaust fan that has a speed dial on it, so I get to adjust what speed it's at. And I tell you, when I put it on high, it pushes a lot of air out. So it's going to be exhausting straight from right to left. Same thing on the bottom. I have 120 mil sucking air in from the bottom right, and it's gonna be moving over and exhausting through the fan I have on the bottom left. The Thermaltake TMG SL1 is going to be taking the radiant heat from the. Not only does let me explain this. Not only does the video card have a fan built in, that it's sucking in air and blowing it out the slot automatically, but the radiant heat around it, I'm going to be sucking in with the SL1 just below it, as well as any other heat would be pushing it through from my front case fan. Now also, let's not forget about the North Bridge fan. Just below the CPU fan, you see a black square. If you take a closer look at the motherboard itself, that's a fan put sideways. So instead of blowing the air down, or back onto the CPU or down towards your GPU, it's blowing it out the side towards your back fan. So that's a pretty cool design. So it's going to be straight from right to left, both ways, top and bottom. Also, because of the CPU fan, it's going to be sucking in air from the outside. It's going to be all sucked in and pushed out straight away. Hopefully it'll work fine. I'm not too worried about the memory being heated up, because you got those 1 or 2 Masco fans blowing straight past it. If worse comes to worse, I could find a memory cooler, but I don't think that'll be the case. And I think it'll work. I don't think I'll have that many heat issues. If I do, hell, I could always add more fans, or even keep the side case off. Doesn't really matter to me. So that's the end of this makeshift demonstration. Hope you guys understood it, and look forward to seeing more from me. GamesOnSmashTech. I'm out. Peace.